Wait, what? What's this Gen Z Doomer channel doing making a case for hopium? Before I begin to make my case, let me just say that as a millennial, one of the many things Gen Z does better than my generation is you guys just straight up don't cope. Millennials were the ultimate coper generation. Growing up, I'd always hear my millennial peers say things like, oh, maybe she just didn't read my message yet. Oh, everything will be okay. And my all-time favorite, oh, you should still go to college because the economy will recover one day. And of course, we all know the answer to all of those statements is a massive, resounding no. So, from this standpoint, your guys' doomerism is actually, in a strange way, a breath of fresh air for me. 2040. This is a key year to mark on your calendars and in your minds. As promised, I'm not going to lie. We're definitely screwed for the next 5 years at least, and likely for the next 10. Around the late 2030s, however, things will get interesting. This is when, according to experts in the field, AI will replace almost every single job. People have mixed feelings on the coming AI revolution. Some welcome it, others are terrified of it. We don't know, and it's impossible to predict how exactly it will change the world. We don't know if it will change the world for the better or for the worse. But here's what we do know for a fact. It will radically change the world. In other words, I don't know if 2040 will be a futuristic utopia or a dystopian hellscape. But what I do know is, it will look much, much different than the world looks today. One of the consequences of the AI revolution that all experts unanimously agree on is that it will replace the overwhelming majority of existing jobs as we know them. This means that a complete new economic system will need to be invented. Capitalism, socialism, and communism will all become outdated relics of times past, the same way feudalism and monarchies are now. Now, the timing of this is very interesting as it coincides with another key development set to occur in 2040. Everyone pretty much agrees that boomers are basically the root of all our problems right now. It's not just that they screwed over the economy and our futures when we were children, but unfortunately, they still hold most of the power politically and economically right now, which means they have the power to keep ruining society as they've been doing since forever. There is, however, one silver lining in all of this. By 2040, the oldest boomer will be 94, and the youngest will be 76. The majority of them will be older than Biden is right now. And so, they will be far less relevant and powerful by then. This means that more of us will be in control, and we will have the power to create a much better world. Now, going back to the AI revolution here, I get into a lot of heated debates with pro-capitalist copers on the internet about just how fast AI is evolving. I've been saying a universal basic income will become necessary as AI will replace most traditional careers at some point. And people try to argue with me that AI isn't actually evolving that fast, even though every expert in the field universally disagrees. At the end of the day, though, this is a bit of a moot point, because we all know it will happen at some point. Maybe it'll happen in 5 years, maybe 10. At the very latest, it will happen in 2040. Arguing about when exactly it's going to happen is just kicking the can down the road. The point is, it will happen, and likely sooner than you think. Now, earlier in the video, we already talked about how boomers will be too old and largely irrelevant by 2040. But where will Gen Z be at that point? A lot of people complain about how Gen Z doesn't really care for politics. But I don't really blame you guys, given how garbage the political scene is these days. But another factor that people forget to consider is that Gen Z stretches out all the way to 2012, meaning that almost half of Gen Z isn't even old enough to vote yet. By 2040, however, the oldest Gen Z will be 43 and the youngest will be 28, meaning that you guys, along with us millennials, will have most of the economic and political power by then. And we will finally have the power to fix all the decades of ruin that boomers left. We will have the power to create a much better world than they left us. Now, will we actually be successful? That, I don't know. But I know we will have the opportunity, and from that point, it's just going to depend on us. But seeing how smart and resourceful you guys are at such a young age, I could definitely see a world where universal basic income becomes a reality. People are free from the shackles of work. AI allows people to pursue their passions, and all the outdated mentalities of boomers that held us back become a relic of times past. This could be the beginning of what finally fixes the economy and gets humanity back on a positive track. If we hold out hope and survive for long enough, we will have the opportunity to build a better world for future generations, something the boomers never did for us. And with a bit of luck, we'll get to enjoy that world ourselves as well. Now I know what you're probably thinking. But damn, 2040 is a long way from now. What am I supposed to do in the next 15 years? First of all, as a millennial in my 30s now, I can tell you that 15 years can fly by in the blink of an eye. Not a day passes when I don't think about how I swore I just turned 20 yesterday. But aside from that, there's actually a few things you can do today. With the way the economy is, there's not much you can do to improve your current economic situation. I promised in the beginning of the video I wasn't going to lie to you, so I'm not going to start now. But what you can do is do your best to survive, support each other, read as many books as you can, try your best to think of solutions, and most importantly, continue to stand up for yourself. Don't let these older generations shame, gaslight, and manipulate you into believing their lies. If you survive long enough, there will come a day when your time will come. The reason I can tell you this is because I'm witnessing this happen firsthand as I make these videos for you. I've had these thoughts and philosophies for over 10 years now, since my early 20s. I kept trying to tell people back then everything that I tell you in all my videos. Society sucks. It's bullshit that we didn't ask to be born. Yet we're forced to give up our whole lives to help make a billionaire richer. Why are we expected to dedicate our whole lives to a corporation that sees us as nothing more than a number on a spreadsheet? People either laughed at me or got angry and offended when I would say these things. The world just wasn't ready yet. But as Gen Z came of age, I noticed more and more of you agreeing with my viewpoints until it became mainstream. It was at that point I realized that my ideas weren't wrong. They just came at the wrong time, initially. But because I didn't give up and kept fighting, I can now share this message with you and empower you to keep fighting. This is why Gen Z can't lose hope. I'm not going to lie to you and tell you that you're not screwed right now. I'm not even going to tell you that it's going to get better anytime soon. But I am going to tell you that if you keep fighting and pushing out your message, eventually at some point, your time will come.